and I beat myself up. And it's usually related to my kids, and always kind of wondering whether I'm doing enough for them or whether I'm doing the right thing for them. And that's kind of like a constant thing.
Hello, Amelia here. What you're about to experience is the third and final session of myself and an INFP exploring what does it look like for a busy mom to love herself despite all the things going on around her. This is a real person with real fears, real doubts, and real pain. And in this session, we cover topics that are how to have self-care by listening to your inner children's wisdom, finding space for yourself while having multiple interests and things going on around you, nurturing your inner child, and during the journey to finding yourself and finding self-love despite the chaos of motherhood. And how we do this is looking at the roundtable model. And if you are new to that, or if you have any questions about that, there is a blog in the description below for you. And I hope you enjoy. Hello, thank you so much for once again signing up to do this. This is the third of the third call. So how are you doing? How was your week?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I've had a good, productive week, I think. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Nice. And how was your homework last week? And your homework was and I can screen share so everyone can follow along. So your homework was to set boundaries using your adult self with the other three parts of you, your pioneer, your 10-year-old, and your 3-year-old inner child here. How did that go?
Okay, so I took it to mean as like the other three parts of me kind of having setting a boundary with or having a request from the adult me.
Nice.
It's something that they need from the adult me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the one that I'm not gonna do them in order because I think the one that seemed more demanding maybe, or more necessary, I don't know, or more urgent maybe, I don't know, but it's with the extroverted not introverted sensing, my SI, my 10-year-old.
So this part down here.
Yeah. So what I've noticed is that my adult self doesn't really put limits on my SI, my 10-year-old. Or I don't want to say limits, but allows actions to happen that are actually detrimental or not healthy for the 10-year-old. Like, I mean, I see it basically as just taking care of my body with the 10-year-old. So it's very sensitive to whatever I mean, like feeling physically or however it's not just like the trying to think. So I guess the way I function or how well I function is really has to do a lot with how my 10-year-old is feeling, like in getting things done. Not just getting things done, but just being active or feeling good and all that stuff. And a lot of habits that I've had, like with my sleep and with my regular eating and all kinds of things, have been unhealthy for the 10-year-old. And they've kind of been behaviors that either my 10-year-old asked because of, bring comfort, or maybe the other functions asked for them for other reasons. But the adult me should not have allowed, because we knew better that those were not healthy or not beneficial in the long run. So the 10-year-old needs the adult to be more on top of that and be more firm with those limits and what is good and what is not good for the 10-year-old.
That's quite
So
beautiful.
like,
How
uh,
is how has that been going for you?
so it's been going actually. This week has been well. I mean, I have already started to implement it, and um, like I've already like set some rules about like this, say for eating, for example, like some rules of what things I should and should not eat. Not as in like an absolute rule, like not things that I can never have this or anything like that, but like just rules of what is healthy and just taken into account. Like whenever I'm eating something, to be aware of what the reason is for eating it, for example, and whether it's I should allow it or not in this instance. And so to be the adult actually needs to be present there whenever I'm doing those things, making these
Mm,
decisions. And often it feels like it was absent and allowing all kinds of things. So the past week I've just been able to be more present and like be able to say no and stick to the no on some things that were
nice.
not healthy. So
Nice. And how is your historian doing with that shift? So your historian, that 10-year-old inner child of yours in the bottom corner here.
yeah, so it's feeling um taken care of.
Nice.
Like it's having certain limits, knowing that there's an adult who cares, makes you feel, comforted, taken care of, and they can relax a little bit more.
Mm,
And yeah, it's it's good.
that's so nice. What a what an amazing shift that can happen in a week.
Right?
So
Yeah,
nice.
so I think sometimes once the epiphany happens, it just changes right away, but it can take a while for that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Good. So much of the key of feeling more like yourself, finding
Mhm.
freedom and, embodying true self-love, not just thinking self-love, is
Mhm. Yeah.
getting that adult self and that inner parent. So those two parts of you on the top of in these top squares on
Hmm.
in the picture here to step up. And as they step up, it's usually a little battle between the inner child, so the 10-year-old or your
Hmm.
3-year-old. So there's a bit of a struggle. But when they do,
Yeah.
it's like these inner child parts of you then can relax. And then you feel so
Hmm.
much better. So that's quite
Yeah.
beautiful. What about the other two boundaries or the other two requests?
Mm. Yeah. So the inner parent was, I think, the next one that seemed important. Um, we talked about, me needing that distraction or just looking for new pieces of information or, like while I was working and all that stuff. I mean, I do that in other times as well, where I'm like, just wherever I feel a spark of interest, I follow, and then I find myself pulled in like 10 different directions. And I have read a page of this book that I'm interested in, and then a couple of pages of another book that I'm interested in, and then all these other things. And I got like so many things going, but I'm never finishing anything. So,
It's so good.
yeah. So yeah, I just think that the parent needs more of a firm opposition, I guess, a reminder from the adult that um, just being pulled in all these different directions is not really actually helping me learn anything. There's nothing really actually sticking. So, I mean, I don't think I can be the kind of person that only has one interest and just delves into that and then is done with it and moves on. I'm going to have at least like two or three hanging at the same time, but 10 is too much. I guess it needs that five to the adult to be like, okay, we're getting at the limit here of what we can actually pay attention to
Mm, yeah.
and retain.
Yeah. Because there are
what is
often
beneficial.
consequences of adding another interest, adding another interest, adding another interest. And
Hmm.
it's hard because it can be so exciting and the excitement
Yes.
can feel so much fun, but
Hmm.
it can often lead you a little strung out with things. So
Yeah.
as you said, 10 interests are a little too much, but it's always good to have interests. So
Yes. Better to have them than not have them. Sure.
nice. And how about that 3-year-old inner child of yours?
Okay, so for this one, what I came up with is it needs the adult to be clear on what is important and what isn't. So sometimes I will get um, taken up or like just get carried away doing things that are not necessary or not important to me, or like it's just I get caught up in it because I just want to get it done
Mm,
or want to mark it as done or something. But it does, I don't have to do so. I'm just wasting any strength or the little bit of potential that a 3-year-old has on things that are not important. So you could be very clear from the adult, like this matters, this we have to do, so then we can prioritize the things that need to be done. um and also have the adult be more intentional with rest, like intentional rest for the 3-year-old. A lot of times the rest that I take um, comes from like a burnout. Like I
mm,
did too much, now I have to rest.
yeah.
Um, but I think if we were to be more intentional with it, um, then we can kind of, take a smaller rest and prevent a burnout maybe. And then I'm still working on this one actually. I haven't really put that into action as much. I mean, the important part, which one is important, that one I'm working with now. But the intentional rest still needs um, tweaking, figuring out a little bit.
Sure. And what kind of tweaking do you think it needs? Or does your 3-year-old think it needs?
um, well, I guess figuring out what intentional rest means, actually. Like, is that something of like a rest where I'm just not doing anything at all? Or is it a rest where I'm doing something that is fun for a 3-year-old?
Mm.
Like, what is the best rest for a 3-year-old it needs? Because sometimes with a 10-year-old, he needs just rest when I'm just relaxing, not doing anything. But that's not the same with a 3-year-old. It doesn't, you know, 3-year-old sometimes needs like a more active sort of rest.
Yes, because the different functions, the feeling, the intuition, the sensing, and the thinking all have different things that fill them up. So what's going to feel like rest to your intuition is going to be different than what feels rest to your feeling, which is going to be different than what feels like rest to your thinking. Um, and
Mhm.
that can be really exciting when you start to separate that out and give them the space that they need to have the rest when they need it, especially if you see your 3-year-old starting to go like, oh, we got to get stuff done with
Yeah.
this, we need to accomplish things are off,
Mhm.
I feel, when it starts kind of spiraling out of control. um
Mhm.
so does your 3-year-old inner child know what kind of rest feels good or what would be exciting as something that can fill it up?
Mhm. I think that is a part of that I'm trying to really get clear on. I don't have a clear answer yet from the 3-year-old on that one. Um, I'm like it likes to do things like artsy things, maybe like with my hands, like
Mm.
painting or I don't know, working in the garden sometimes could be like a rest for it. But like Sometimes the garden feels like so much of a chore. So that is a little bit of a difference there. So like working in the garden where I'm collecting, you know, getting the roses or something, that could be a more fun, restful sort of thing for the 3-year-old.
Yeah, and that's a great distinction because the executive, the nickname executive, the outward facing thinking part of you is going to think that the rest means getting stuff done. When I get stuff done, then I'll be able to rest. But it's hard when it's stressed out already and it's just wanting to get stuff done, get stuff done, get stuff done, get stuff done. That's usually not going to make it feel better.
There's no end to getting stuff done.
When it's stressed out, it kind of gets the problem is it can get into this mode of I just need to accomplish stuff, or beating yourself up because you're not accomplishing stuff. And it's nice that that part can feel rest or a sense of play by, like, as you said, like picking the roses or gardening for 10 minutes and like using your hands, because you get to step back and say, oh, I have these roses now, or oh, I'm able to look and see what I've done just now. So I've accomplished a little bit without taxing me and constantly thinking like, I got to get this done, got to get this done, got to get this done. So it's a different way of getting things done. Much like stretching. Stretching is a way of like getting things done. I'm not telling you to stretch. It's just another example. It's like, it's not quote unquote like accomplishing things, but it is accomplishing something that is making you feel good at the same time. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say with that.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. I was thinking with the 3-year-old and the inner parent too, there needs to be something there as well. I mean, it kind of ties in with what the inner parent needs from the adult and also what the 3-year-old needs from the adult. So the inner parent kind of needs to be limited into how many interests to pursue at the same time. And so the adult needs to set what the priority is, or what the limits are. Because like once the inner parent is out there pursuing different interests on the outside world, and it pulls kind of 3-year-old with it because there's things needs to be done in the outside world. So then the inner parent is all over the place, then the 3-year-old is all over the place and it's tired.
Yeah, and it can be hard to check in with yourself as an introvert because the adult self for INFPs is inward facing feeling. So it's like, how do I feel right now? And even so, and then the 10-year-old inner child is inward facing sensing. So like, what have I sensed before? What have I experienced before? Those two parts are how you check in with yourself. And if you're inner parent and your 3-year-old, so that inner parent being the outward facing intuition, the part that likes to go explore, that likes newness, that has fun looking at all the different possibilities and all the different things that can happen. When that part gets going and it pulls, as you said, your 3-year-old with it, that is outward facing thinking, that likes to get things done in the outside world and put things together and accomplish things and create really cool ways of merging things so they all work. When those two part of you kind of take off, as you said, it can be tough to drag yourself back into it because they're so extroverted. And this is a problem that some extroverts have, is their outward facing parts just go, 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 and they're not stopping and checking in with themselves. Yeah. And do you want to work more on that, or do you want to work on something else today?
Maybe something else, but I'm having a hard time thinking of something right
Sure.
now.
So topic was self-love, especially as a busy single mom who's got a lot of stuff going on.
What's coming up right now is some ways that I kind of beat myself up, and it's usually related to my kids. and always kind of wondering whether I'm doing enough for them or whether I'm doing the right thing for them. And that's kind of like a constant thing. And I think, most parents feel that.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes I do look at other parents and see what they do. And maybe that's what I should be doing. It's usually that comes up when like I see them being more organized or more on top of what their kids need. Because I was kind of the kind of parent that was um I was never on top of like, the school events or something, or dressing up for Halloween. It was like everything was kind of last minute whenever I did it, and it was not. And as I would see other parents were like, like 2 months ahead of Halloween, having their kids' the costume picked out and everything ready, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should be more like that. But this just that's not something that I can really pull off.
Yeah, I feel like your 3-year-old, that outward facing thinking would like to be more like that.
Yeah.
But those people are also very much probably planners.
Mm,
So in the Myers-Briggs
yeah.
world, their fourth letter probably ends with a J and yours ends with a P. So you're more wired to do things last minute.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is
Whatever.
there might be a way that you can get better at this, but I don't know if you'll ever be the 2 months in advance planner as your natural self. And I want you
Yeah.
to be your natural self, who you're born to be.
Yeah. I think I've come now to the realization that that's not going to be me. I'm not ever going to be able to do that and actually be happy. Um,
Yeah.
and so I look at, let's say, like the last minute thing can be frustrating, but it's also fun. So, and kind of very, very flexible, and we can just roll with whatever the kids want, for example, or like, okay, we decide we're going to do this now, let's go do this now, and so, for me to be the kind of person that plans Halloween 2 months in advance, that would make me a very rigid sort of person,
Mm.
and I don't think I want that.
Mm.
So, um, I guess that's maybe the adult comes in there and kind of realizing what is important and what isn't, right? So like it is important to me to be flexible with the kids, for me to be happy with them and to do fun things and kind of connect with them. And if I were to focus so much on being more structured, I'll be a lot more stressed and a lot less able to connect with them and be happy. So that's something that I will have to give up on.
Yeah, and that's quite beautiful, and that can be a great gift for kids, that things aren't always this way, planned. Like, no, things can shift, things can change around. And when you were mentioning this and talking about this initially, you felt like you should be the parent that's that's doing the right, like, wonder if I should be doing these things. Which part of you feels like you should be doing that?
Um, hmm. I mean, it is part of it is the 3-year-old that feels like it should be more, um, you know, structured and do more or something. But I don't know. There's like maybe also the 10-year-old, maybe just kind of like the messages that I've gotten throughout my life that I should be more structured. I should be more organized. I should be more this and that.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just kind of repeating
Yeah.
those messages back to myself.
Yeah. And what would you say to a 10-year-old child next to you who was feeling like they should be more structured and just kind of repeating the patterns that they've learned throughout their childhood?
Mhm. Okay. Well, I mean, I would say that you are, um, um, I mean, you're perfect the way you are. You should not have to change, to meet anyone else's expectations. But there's a part of me right now that is like, well, how badly are we talking about it? Am I like, is this 10-year-old like failing all their classes? Maybe we do need to work with a little bit of organization here.
Exactly. Where's the balance?
Right. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll comfort them and urge them to be who they are, but then work with who they are to, do accomplish the things that are important.
Yeah, and they could be bringing up a good question of, is this right for us? I don't know. That's a good question. Is it based on fear? Does it need comforting and validation? Like you just said quite beautifully, of like, hey, sweetheart, I get you're scared. I get this can be weird, especially when you look at other people, and see it's different than what you're doing. And that can be a little weird and maybe scary, but at the same time, that's a great question. Let's look at this and see if what you are bringing up is a valid point. Because like you said, it can be valid of, hey, do I need to be more structured?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That sometimes the inner children do need comfort and to be allowed to be the way they are, but sometimes they do need that firm, not firm, but like guidance. Sometimes it can be firm, but they do need like strong, I guess, guidance from the adult and the inner parent, and to be kept from doing things that would hurt them. Like we do with any child, I guess, as a parent.
Exactly. And what would you say to your 3-year-old inner child who's maybe frustrated that you're not getting enough done? Or I could rephrase this. What would you say to a 3-year-old child sitting next to you who's frustrated that they're not getting enough done?
I guess, you know, the same in a way where it's like, I get it's just frustrating, and I get that you want to do all the things. And I guess a good desire to have. Maybe let's look at what we already are doing. Maybe we are doing already a lot. And then maybe if you want to do more of these things that you're not doing now, maybe we can let some other things go. And we can make room for it, and we can continue to do it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Does your 3-year-old think that with the other parents getting things done sooner, it means something about them and their ability to get things done or be a decent parent?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess the image or the idea of the parent who's on top of everything and prepared and organized is what what they should be like. I guess this is what the idea that I have received growing up. This is how they should be.
Yeah.
Seeing that I do not fit that idea makes me understand if it is, you know, failing as a parent, or I'm doing what I need to do. But as I'm saying that, it's not like it is a fear that I have, that a 3-year-old has, but it's not um like, I know I'm a good parent. Like, I know the things that I care about and that I provide my children are important. And So I'm not looking at other parents and being like, oh, I'm such a shitty parent. And don't deserve anything or whatever. I'm just like, oh, maybe I should have been more like this.
Mm.
Like I'm just not good enough. That kind of thing.
Yeah. And then I feel like the best people to give you feedback are your kids. Do you ever ask your kids, like, hey, what do you guys need more from me? What's working? What's not working?
I haven't asked them plainly like that, but I do pay attention to how they respond to different things, or the things that they are complaining about and what they're related to. Um, like with my son, for example, lately, part of what I'm doing with my 10-year-old, um, they're kind of putting limits on the things I'm also doing with my son because I realize that he needs that structure from me and I haven't provided it. So, yeah, so that is something that I realized that, I should do more of this. And that was not because, I saw other parents doing it. It was because I'm like, okay, I do see that this is needed here. So,
Yeah. So it sounds like you're doing a really good job of responding. Like, oh, there's a little bit off there. Let me kind of shift. Or, oh, they're a little bit off here. Let me shift.
yeah, yeah. I'm paying a lot more attention since we started this work, being a lot more present
Well,
and aware.
the challenges with being a parent is if you don't know how to parent yourself, so do the things like what we've talked about today or on these 3 calls or on the calls with the other people that I'm recording, then you're not going to be able to give that to your kids. So you literally just said this of my son is needing more structure. And as I'm giving myself more structure, I have that ability to give that to them now. Because if you
Yes,
can't do this and provide it to yourself because your adult self is hung up on something or your inner parent is checked out and totally just going, dragging the rest of you with it, then you can't provide any stability. Like it's going to be really hard for you to teach certain lessons to your kids because you're not able to teach that and give that to yourself. And
yeah,
as you
that
are
is so
getting
true.
better at this work, you're going to be a better parent because you are changing your and what's going on within you. And as you strengthen and meet what's going on within you better, because it's like you have these 4 parts of you and they're just kind of scattered, and it's your job to kind of corral them together and get them going in direction. And then, there's one part that's in the ditch and you got to corral them and keep them going. As you get better and better and better with that, you'll be able to be a better and better parent. So what you said is not surprising to me. And one of the best ways to give yourself self-love and teach your kids self-love as well is to work on yourself and do this work that teaches you how to hear these different parts of you and feel more unified and connected. And then that will give the kids the space to do that as well. Because kids can change so quickly if you give them
Yes.
the right environment, and you change too. Like really change, not try to be more self-love and think that you're gonna do this for 2 weeks and then it falls off the bandwagon because you get busy doing something else.
Yeah, yeah, that is true.
Is there anything else you need with that?
Mm. Okay. No, actually, I'm good with that. Maybe I just want to say just one thing, I guess, at the end. Um, I mean, related to the whole parenting thing, like one thing that has really shifted through doing the work is the adult me being more present with
Mm.
my inner children and with my actual children, and acting or reacting based on what is happening rather than based on what I think I should be acting like. So before I used to have this idea, this is how I should be, and I would keep doing that, but it wasn't giving me the results that I wanted. So by paying more attention to my inner children and my actual children, then I can see how things are and what I need to change and what I need to, do more of or less of. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. And how is your inner child, or like specifically, how does your 10-year-old inner child feel about that shift?
Well, I mean, he's stubborn and a naysayer. So it took a bit for him to get on board with things. But yeah, so I mean, he does see that we have the way that we behave is different and is better than before, and has given good results. So he's on board with that.
That's so nice. How about that 3-year-old inner child?
Same, I think. I mean, he's not much of an naysayer. He's like, what do we do? What do we do? All the time. But
What's the plan?
yes. If I guess seeing results makes him happy. So it's like, okay, we did this, and this happened. I like this thing that happened. Okay, that's good. Let's do more of this. So it makes him feel more, I guess, more competent, more useful,
More loved?
more loved. Yes. Yeah.
Nice. And I'm so happy that you've gotten those results, because there's so much magic that can happen with this work if people are willing to put in the work. And you certainly have had that drive to do that. And like you said, seen results, because people need to see results in order to keep going with it. So any final questions?
No, not this time. I'm good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. How are you feeling about self-love now than when we started? What have you learned? What have you changed? What have you seen?
Well, I do feel it a lot more, like actually feel it internally now, and especially now that we're talking about it, I do feel this kind of warmth from inside. And so this is kind of, what I wanted to actually feel it, but I am definitely feeling it. And I think, with this work, kind of just noticing more of what my inner people needed and giving it to them, and then this thing that we did, it definitely helps with that. And yeah, so seeing the change there, and how things can change when I'm intentional about things, and when the adult is actually fully involved and present, it's a huge difference.
Yes, I'm so happy that you've had that difference in this short of time, because 3 sessions really is not a lot of time. So thank you for your work. Thank you for your vulnerability, and thank you for your desire to do this and, see the change for yourself. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amelia.
Time.
Thank you.